Welcome to Your City Connections, where you get to meet entertaining and informative guests. Guests such as an artist with a brush or with a camera, and guest with a violin. City Connections, providing insightful interviews with favorite son Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb. To city commissioners, the mayor. Interviews with a rodeo queen, to beauty queen, and even a NBA player. Now, join Steve Keim as he discusses another engaging topic on City Connections.
Good afternoon and welcome to this special edition of City Connections. I'm Steve Keim, and I guess you want to call this the Thunderbird edition, if you will. My special guest, number 5, the upside down 5, Captain Nickeberling. Welcome to Enid, Oklahoma, Captain.
Thanks, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here.
Appreciate your service to our great country as well. Well, welcome to Enid. It's a little warm, but you're probably used to 120 degrees on a tarmac or something. Tell us about the upside down 5 for us folks who don't know a thing about that.
So I'm Captain Nickeberling. I'm the lead solo pilot, Thunderbird 5 of the United States Air Force Air Demonstration Squadron, the Thunderbirds. Like you mentioned, the number 5, a little bit different from the other numbers out here. It's because I have the distinction of flying about half of that show upside down. The goal of that is to be able to demonstrate the extreme performance of your modern United States Air Force fighter aircraft, as myself and Thunderbird 6 works together to inspire the crowd with high energy maneuvers all throughout the show.
Well, folks in Northwest Oklahoma and Enid, Oklahoma will be watching this interview, Captain, and they're going to want to know, tell us a little bit about your education. Where'd you come from? I understand Mississippi, but just tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Steve, I grew up in a military family. Both my parents were Air Force officers. My mom was an Air Force flight nurse, and my father was an Air Force fighter pilot. So I grew up steeped in the culture and tradition of serving your country ever since I was young. Flying, aviation has been a huge passion of mine, and it's always been a dream to fulfill that passion. I couldn't think of a better way to do that than to serve in the United States Air Force.
So tell us, this is an F-16 behind us. How fast do you go? Do you break the speed limit?
Well, I don't know what the speed limit would be there, Steve, but yeah, we're looking at a mighty F-16 Fighting Falcon right here behind us. Top of the line, modern as tomorrow. Dual role air-to-air, air-to-ground fighter jet. So we operate some of the most powerful aircraft in the fleet. The thrust-to-weight ratio of the F-16 is unparalleled. So what the crowd is going to get to see out here is just a totally exciting show, an aircraft that can accelerate while it flies straight up into the vertical, which is awesome. These aircraft are here to fly a show, and we hope to be able to inspire everybody that comes up to the show and watches us. But just realize that each of these aircraft have been designed for and defended our nation before. So that's what we're here to do, is represent all the hardworking men and women that are serving in the United States Air Force today.
As I stand here 10, 15 feet away from number 5, I'm inspired already. Very impressive. You're known as America's Ambassador in Blue. What does that title do for you, or what does it mean to you?
That title humbles me. You know, our job as a Thunderbird, not just a pilot, but as a Thunderbird member, we have about 130 people total on this team, is to have the honor and the privilege of representing each of the men and the women that are serving in the United States Air Force. We have over 680,000 folks serving right now, over 22,000 of which are deployed. So I take that as a great responsibility to be able to show up and hopefully inspire everybody that comes to this show, make them proud to be Americans and proud to support every man and woman that serves today.
Captain Eberling, on behalf of the mayor and the city commissioners of Enid, Oklahoma, welcome. We appreciate you being here, and have fun while you're in Enid.
Thank you, Steve. Honor's ours.
Thank you for staying with us on this special edition of City Connections. My special guest is Major Nick Krawczyk.
That's correct, yes sir.
Good to see you. Welcome to Enid, Oklahoma.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Nick, Major, tell us a little bit about the patch that you have on the right side of your uniform.
Yes, we've been proudly wearing this patch since 1953, and what it represents as you look at the patch, you can see the Thunderbird obviously dates back all the way to when our team was founded. A little bit of Indian folklore there, as our team originated in Phoenix, Arizona. And what you'll see on there is the diamond, so the 4 jets, that's kind of the nucleus of our formation, and that's how we originally started, was with 4 jets. And then we grew to 5 and then eventually added a 6th jet. So it kind of takes us back to our heritage, all the way back to, again, like I said, 1953 when we were founded.
You are known as America's Ambassadors in Blue. What does that mean to you? It's got to be a special honor.
Yeah, it is a special honor. It's an amazing responsibility to have to represent nearly 680,000 airmen that are currently serving in the United States Air Force, the reserves, as well as the National Guard. And so for us to get out and demonstrate the professionalism, the pride, and the precision of the United States Air Force in what we do with our ground and air show is just an amazing responsibility, and frankly, I'm humbled to be a part of that team.
Well, speaking of precision, earlier I visited with the pilot who flies upside down. Don't tell me you do that. What's number 4's role and your role in this?
At times I do fly upside down,
Okay.
but I am the slot pilot, and so the slot position is tucked in between the two wingmen and just behind and aft of the commander leader, the number 1 jet. It's a unique to flying demonstrations. It's not a position that you'll find in the combat Air Force.
Okay.
I like to think it's the coolest position. It's extremely dynamic. I'm moving around a lot, flopping around, moving from trail position, line abreast, and then constantly moving back to the slot. One of the cool things is as I look out across the formation, I can see everybody. Whereas the wingmen are looking to their right and left, I can see across the entire formation. So I've got the best seat in the house up there.
So with the best seat in the house, how fast are you going?
So we will
Typically.
we'll get upwards of 600 mile an hour during the show. We are speed
600
restricted.
miles an hour.
Yes, sir. We are speed restricted. We do not want to break the speed of sound, as we'll be breaking a lot of glass if we do that. And so safety of us and the jets, and then the safety of everybody on the ground is paramount to all of our operations.
Major, as individuals are viewing our show today, they just may be curious to know a little bit about your education. Where did you come from? Where's home, if you will?
Yeah, so I'm from just up the road here, really, West Point, Nebraska. I'm
Okay.
a small town kid.
Cornhusker?
Cornhusker.
Okay.
That's why I bleed red. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up in West Point, Nebraska, small farm town. Wanted to see some sights in that. Right out of high school, actually enlisted in the Army. Spent 9 years in the Army, both enlisted as well as a warrant officer, flying helicopters. I worked on my degree. I got my degree from the University of Nebraska,
Okay.
and then commissioned and changed services, if you will, from the Army to the Air Force through officer training school. And then I have a master's degree that the Air Force has helped me get in military studies.
Very good. There's a young person, Major, that's watching this show, and what would you tell that young person right now who's considering big dreams?
Well, the first thing is to have big dreams. We go and we do these community outreach all the time. We go to high schools, we go to trade schools, we'll go to community colleges, and we visit all kinds of people across the United States. One of the premier things that we do, for the community. And in my speech, in my talk to young kids all the time, I talk to them about really three things. The first thing is don't ever take no for an answer, right? You got to keep pushing towards that dream. Second thing is don't be afraid to fail. In order to dream big, you got to fail big sometimes too. And I could share lots of stories about that. And then the third thing is, as kids are growing up, they need to make sure that they're surrounding themselves, whether that's their friends, their teachers, whoever's supporting them, knows what their dream is going to help support them to get there.
Again, thank you for staying with us on this special edition of City Connections. I'm Steve Kime, and my special guest now, number 6, Major Alex Turner, who has a special connection to Enid, Oklahoma. We'll get to that in a moment. Major, thank you for being here. Welcome to Enid, Oklahoma.
It's an honor. It's great to be back.
And appreciate your time. How warm is it on the tarmac here today? 112?
We're used to that. We're based in Las Vegas, so this is the breeze is beautiful.
Yeah,
to
it's
me
fall
right now.
weather. Okay, it's fall weather for you today. Well, real quick, you are known as America's Ambassador in Blue. Tell us what that means to you personally.
To be an ambassador in blue for the U.S. Air Force is a major privilege and an honor. You know, we have over 22,000 airmen downrange in harm's way protecting our freedoms, and to be able to come out and tell their story and make that connection with the public is the most important part of being a Thunderbird is to me.
Well, major individuals in Enid, Oklahoma, and Northwest Oklahoma will see this interview, and they may want to know, well, I want to know about Alex Turner. So tell us a little bit about your education background and maybe your connection to Vance.
Absolutely.
Of all the places you've stopped, if you would please.
Well, I am an Air Force brat. My father was a B-52 navigator back in the Cold War days. So I spent my younger years traveling around the country, moving from place to place in New York, California, Ohio, and outside of Boston is where we settled. So went through high school and whatnot through there. Went to college at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in upstate New York, near Albany. After that, kind of went through the standard pilot training route to get to the F-16, which for me started here at Vance Air Force Base about 10 years ago.
Okay, so you're coming home, so to speak.
A bit, it is. This is really where I learned to fly.
Good for you. I had a question asked me earlier. When you fly maybe long distance from point A to point B, do you have to stop to refuel somewhere, or can you refuel in the air? Or how's that work on an F-16?
We can refuel in the air and do very much of the time. In fact, this trip from Las Vegas, we were supported by tankers from McConnell Air Force Base. So we just rendezvoused with them in the air. They gave us a few top-offs and got us here.
Take the credit card, just
one
swiped
shot.
it?
Yes, right under the door in there, no kidding.
Keep on going.
But sometimes the tankers aren't available. They support more important missions, and we obviously can just hop from base to base as we make our way out to the coast if we need to.
Major, I'm sure there's a young person that is watching this interview and they're looking at mom and dad and say, you know, I want to do that someday. So, Major, what would be your advice to them? A recommendation, if you will.
Well, my advice
in 20 words or less.
20 words or less.
Don't put the pressure on you.
The first thing I would tell you is to believe in yourself.
Okay.
The second is to not be afraid to put the work in to get there. And the last would be, along the way, just be kind to everyone you meet, be respectful, and just follow your heart and your passion, and you will find where you belong.
Major Turner, one more question, and thank you for sharing that. Tell us about practice. You gotta practice. Is it for an hour, 3 hours? How does it work?
Well, we practice every week for these shows before we come out. Typically on Tuesdays, we're back home, and we'll fly 2 sorties there that we tailor to the profile that we expect to fly at the show site based off the weather that's forecasted. So we'll do 2 training missions there. We'll come in and check the site out like we did today. This is just kind of a miniature practice, and then we'll do a full dress rehearsal the day before. And each one of those practices is about an hour.
Major, thank you for your service to our great country. I appreciate you taking time on this rather warm day to visit with us. And it's good to have you back in Enid for a while.